Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Thursday night coverage on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Tonight, it's the Stars and Stripes Racing Series getting prepared for Season 7, race number 6 of the season. And we come back to last season's conclusion, Bristol Motor Speedway, for race number 6. The drivers are set, they're prepared for a fight as the Gen 4 cars, if you watched last night on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, you got a good preview of these Gen 4s. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot of action, and it's all here for the Thunder Valley 250 at Bristol. Cannot wait to give you all the coverage. Practice is done. Qualifying is about to get underway. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me in the booth is going to be Zach Hall. And Zach, you got to test out what it's like to be driving this track last night. Now you get to view it. How are you feeling like these drivers are preparing for tonight?
Very important session right here, Sam. I'll tell you what, I learned a lot last night, and this is definitely gave me a different aspect coming into the booth after 200 laps myself. So I pretty much know what these drivers are going to go through tonight. And I tell you what, this qualifying session here is going to be very, very important, especially with the size of the field we got here tonight with upwards of 30 cars so far registered. You want to be in really a top 10 position, in my opinion, because if you get back there in the cluster in the middle of the field, you're going to have drivers on different agendas, going fast, going slow, and that's where you can see those issues run into each other with contact. So I'm very interested to see who can pull off the pole position here. As it looks like right now at the moment, it does look like it looks like Chris Worrell just took the top position up from Ross Tatum. So that was a great lap there from Worrell in the 6 machine.
Worrell's looking quick. Another fast driver to watch out for, Kyle Bowling, the fastest during practice. Can he top the board? Worrell was the second fastest, as they're seeing other drivers tackling the top end. That's Mike Lynch finishing out his second lap. And for Kyle Bowling, his second lap going to place him 7th fastest as he drops now down to 8th, as the 2 gets to have his fun just cruising around. And for some drivers, this is perfect practice, because once you finish your 2 laps that are timed and counted, you can run as many laps as you want, but they just will not be tacked on to your fastest lap that you can have, as we move down to Andrew Medlin as he's on his first lap of qualifying.
Right here watching Medlin get that lap in like Sam said here, and he's going to elect to run right here in the top groove, and that's where you're going to see a lot of speed be shown by these cars, is up in that upper groove. We'll see in the race how the bottom groove can compete with that groove, but so far Medlin right there able to place himself at the moment up the grid here, as it looks like coming through for that number 12 machine. I can't see the 5 where's his name came on the list there, Sam. It looks like actually
wasn't as high as we were expecting. Only 14th fastest for himself on that first lap. Second lap, though, it does bump up. 7th fastest for the 12 machine.
That's impressive, because I was not expecting people to really pick up too much in the second lap unless you messed up on that first lap. So great job there to pick up and salvage something out of the second lap here. But it's very tough to replicate those practice times over to the race time, or over to this qualifying session. I tell you that, because there's hundreds that you can just give up by just overdriving the corner slightly, or even underdriving it can be just hundredths of a second, and a couple hundred slower, you can be from first all the way down to outside the top 10.
I mean, right now, our top 11, well, now just top of the board, Thomas Ogle out of nowhere is the 11 machine. We've known he's been fast at the concrete short tracks, and this is the first time we've seen 11 really look this strong. June White missed out on practice, and this is going to be some of his first laps of the session. First lap going to be 24th fastest, June White, who's been quick this season. Hope we get into victory lane here this evening for the first time, but has been one of the major factors. That second lap clocking in second fastest for June White.
Very good job by June White to jump up the second, and that's critical. Again, like I said, qualifying is going to be very crucial for you to have track position to start this race off and kind of have a little bit better chance of maybe saving a little bit of tire. But I will say the one thing I did notice from last season from June White, the struggles were on the short tracks. So let's see if he can clean that up here starting tonight at Bristol.
And we got 3 drivers with 1 minute and 5 seconds left in qualifying, hoping to put down their fastest laps. It's going to be Jason Gratton, Ryan Lynch, and this 30 machine of Joshua Robinson. Robinson hoping to find that extra little bit for himself. Got the pole award back at Michigan a couple of weeks back, and he's hoping to do it once again here in the concrete.
He looked very fast. I had the lap time averages being shown to me by a program I have, and this driver topped a lot of those late run averages. So watch out for the 30 in the race runs. Right now, 10th on the board after that first lap. We'll see, can he find the pickup that Andrew Medlin had on his second lap as he'll cross the line here. and it's going to be a good bit quicker. I'll jump him a good bit up the board here.
Jumping up now to 5th place for the 30 machine. Ryan Lynch finishing out his qualifying time. Not as fast as the 31 was hoping. Going to be one of the slowest drivers down in 28th spot. With 11 seconds left, Brian Chu high up into the wall, and I believe that graze might take away this lap, and he's not going to have enough time to finish the lap as there's only 2 seconds left. He's not at the exit of turn 2, and Chu missing out by just 200 feet to the line, just showing how fast these laps can just tick away. But when the clock's on, you've got to make sure you're on it. And some drivers were, others weren't. And with that, practice is done, qualifying is out of the way. It's time for 250 laps here at Bristol. Let's take a look at what our qualifying results are going to look like this evening. Grabbing his first pole of season 7, it's the 11 of Thomas Ogle. Second place going to go to the 09 of June White. Chris Worrell looked quick, but 6 will fall down to 3rd. Ross Tatum going to be in 4th. 5th place is going to be Joshua Robinson with Andrew Hess. Last time he won here was last season for the championship. Going to be starting in 6th place for 54. 05 Scott Rickard going to be starting in 7th place. Zach Kreitz 8th. 9th goes to James Lowe. And finishing out your top 10 is going to be that of Andrew Medlin.
In the 11th starting position, it's going to be Derek Offerman. Alongside him in 12th, it's going to be Jonathan Woods. 13th is going to be held by Christian Lawson. 14th is going to be the 5 of Trey Jackson, with 15th going to Dylan Grimm. 16th is going to be the 44 Kyle Bowen. Alongside him, going to be Diego Valle after a strong qualifying runs before. So a little bit of a struggle tonight. 18th going to be Nate Lynch. 19th going to go to Jason Gratton. And rounding out the top 20, it's Mike Lynch.
Finally able to qualify in 21st position is the 49 of Adam Pettit. In 22nd position, going to be that of Brian Burchett. Haven't seen 33. We'll see how well he can run here tonight. It's been a while since we've seen him on track. Aaron Hale going to be in 23rd position with Brian Lynch in 24th. 25th is going to be Joshua Altis with George Kovacic, in 26th. Brian Chu in 27th. James McRae in 28th. 29th is going to be Ryan Lynch. Finishing out our 30 drivers this evening, it's Max Ward in the 59. 30 drivers going to be tackling the course, 2,250 laps. But how will these drivers be able to tackle that extra little bit of speed? Past races at distance have been anywhere from 200 laps to the full 500, but tonight only 250. No stage break, no fast repairs, only 3 sets of tires in pit road to work with. And Zach, I got a feeling that might be the true key of tonight.
It really is, Sam. 3 sets of tires. We talked about comparing it to last night with the World Series of Sim Racing. They had 5 sets in their pit road, so much more lenient with the tires on the Wednesday night league as compared to this Thursday night league. They are going to have to be definitely thoughtful of what they're going to do when it comes down to these cautions and when the strategy gets really, really mixy. So I'm excited to see, who decides to do what throughout the night here at, the last Great Coliseum.
As the drivers get to pace one more lap around, big thanks to the major sponsors here at the Stars and Stripes, being ButtKicker and Next Level Racing. We'll touch a little bit more on them later on here tonight. But this race, previously, they have ran here every season in the Stars and Stripes, and still looking for a driver that will be able to win 2 times, because the other driver that's done it was Kyle McCoy. McCoy not out there on track. He's taking a week off. But everyone else out on track, hoping to get into victory lane. Could it be Thomas Ogle, June White, Chris Worrell still looking for that first win? Tonight could finally be the magic for the 6th machine. But Ross Tatum, hoping for the experience he grabbed from last night's race. Same track, same vehicle. Let's see how he can hold out in Thunder Valley 250 as we are green. Thomas Ogle on the outside gone. Also for Ross Tatum, the inside lane stalling out. And here we go, Zach on the exit turn 2.
June White now with the greatest start, like you said there, Sam. He falls back to 3rd immediately as Ross Tatum rockets from 4th up to 2nd. Much better starting position tonight other than starting from pit road. And that 21 looking to show the speed he definitely learned from there. And right now, it looks like everybody else going to the bottom. And this is what I'm going to be interested in, Sam, is what lane do you pick and choose? The top's the fast way, but the bottom is the tire safe lane.
I'm so curious. A few of these drivers are running here tonight were able to race last night's race. How much knowledge did they take away? Or did some of the drivers that were planning on racing tonight take any notes from last night's event? As there is so much data that can be taken away when leagues are running same car, same track on the same week. It's always interesting to see which drivers bubble to the top as the battle for third place is underway. You see the 6 whirl, June White side by side, exit at 2 as they close in on Ross Tatum, who continues to run that middle to low lane for himself.
Looks like Tatum had to move up to that upper groove there, right there in 3 and 4 to cover off White, who is under threat from Whirl, who Whirl was looking to take advantage of, that inside here and go by White. But I think White was saying, you know what, you can't take that position just yet, as he will hand it over. But immediately like that, everybody switches to the bottom. But not surprised to see our leader, as we're looking back at Andrew Medlin right now, just getting past our champion, Andrew Hess, who won here just previously at Bristol. But not surprised to see leader Thomas Ogle on the top. He seems to always classically, even when we were here last time, to just live and die by the top.
Stay on top, hope for the best, and maybe the tires can stay steady. Interesting notes that we were hearing from last night's race. Tire wear didn't seem like it was the biggest factor in the early portions of the race. I think that's why we're seeing that Thomas Ogle really succeeding on the outside lane, pulling away by 3/10. World able to move up and get by Ross Tatum. But Andrew Medlin talking about that 12, biggest mover so far of anyone on the track. 8 laps in, already at 4 positions.
Huge job by him to gain that track position. And that's going to be valuable here if this race continues on in the fashion it's going right now, as we drop back to the 9th position of Robinson here, as he's given up 4 spots. And not surprised, Robinson always seems to be a driver that saves a good bit of tire. I think the 30 is going to be one you want to watch for later in
trouble
this run.
Down the entry of turn 3, it's the 2 of Mike Lynch being spun around, and it's blocking the majority of the drivers on the back. Looking to be minimal damage for a lot of the crew back there. But first yellow of the day, striking on lap number 10.
No surprise here to see an early yellow here for the 250 laps, because this track, trouble is lurking around each and every corner, and every corner entry is, we're going to see this instant replay. Here's the 2s coming off the top, a good run, the 49 coming up, but I think the 2 came down the racetrack there just a little bit on the back straightaway, came down into that 49, and kind of 2 drivers going for the same spot on the track.
And we're going to take another look at this incident, because we've talked about this about this Gen 4 a lot here on Freaking Fast Broadcasting. The front bumper, rear bumper, hate making contact, and right there, a good showing of when you try to tap or make a move underneath someone, you easily can spin each other out, or just yourself, as Mike goes around. Going to be also tapping on, you saw Aaron Hale, also Joshua Altus getting slight damage for themselves.
Catching some damage for them drivers early, but the one thing advantage of this car with the damage model, it does seem you can get it fixed all the way back up, so they should be able to get that done. And no flash spares like you brought up there, Sam, so that's going to be good for them. Luckily, it looks like no engine damage related to anything or required damages given out there. As the 49 had a great save also from that, so we had some wild moments, but no surprise here this early. This is something, like you said, with the Gen 4 car, that's to be expected. You have a track that you're stop and go like this, and sometimes a traffic jam can happen, and checkups happen, or a driver just goes for the wrong spot, and the bumpers align wrong, and you have that little bit of contact that'll bring out the yellow that quickly.
Yeah, just so fast, and luckily, because it was on the entry of the corner, some drivers had plenty of time to stay on the brakes, slow down, not make as much damage and contact. And I mean, you can kind of touch on that a little bit more, Zach. I mean, this track, it's only a half a mile in distance. You're going very quickly around this course, but slow enough that the damage model, yes, it's a little bit lenient, but also you're not expecting that big of damage.
It's really not a huge issue. I had last night, I know personally myself in the car, had about 1:30 seconds of damage, and it actually felt pretty fine. As long as the wheel, I feel like, is pointing straight, the toes knocked in, and the car is driving straight down the racetrack, and I think you'll be in a somewhat good condition. Now, if it goes long, you may have a little bit worse tire wear due to the downforce loss, but I still think not too majorly.
Not expecting too much, but up front, a lot of staying in your position you started or moving up just 1 or 2 spots as we're back to green flag running. Thomas Ogle, that outside lane, looking so dominant. Chris Rural not able to get the run that he wanted initially. Luckily didn't lose second, but here we go. Top 5 drivers single filing out. And for Thomas Ogle, still keeping the lead off the exit of 4.
Impressive to see here, and this is one thing I heard from drivers last night also. It is the outside lane lottery for when it comes to those restarts. You want to be in that even position really in the running order if you're not in the lead to have choice, because if you start on the bottom, it always seems like you're going to lose a position unless that driver up on top of the outside of you just really is sleeping. So it's tough to restart down there. Drivers are going to be focusing on being out there for late in the race.
And what's curious is seeing these drivers, the way that they're attacking one another. As the lead is on for Chris Worrell. Slight contact as Thomas Ogle Worrell exited the corner. Slight bump, making the 11 not comfortable, and the 6 still in the lead for a quick second there. And those aggressive moves, drivers trying to make slight job moves, but the straightaway seem to be more of the dangerous spot after watching last night's race of drivers getting massive runs compared to those that weren't, as the 6 tries to pull away.
You're exactly right. It seems like more incidents happen on the straightaway than in the corner here at Bristol. And it is really just because things happen so fast. I mean, we're running around this half-a-mile racetrack at 15 seconds per lap, upwards of 130 of 140 mile an hour entering the corner. I mean, it is amazing how fast you go on here. And when stuff happens, it is in a blink of an eye. And you're very, very tough to react to it. You got to almost inhumanly react to miss some of the incidents that will occur here tonight. So we'll see plenty of that. But right now, I've got a good little battle. Offerman here trying to fight off the 46. Is that correct?
One driver is advancing in the 20, another is falling backwards. Derek Offerman having a fantastic run for himself, fighting for the 6th place position. It's good to see the 20 there, but they're going to be having issues in the middle of the field, and it's collision time through 1 and 2. As going to be seeing that of Dylan Grimm and others piling into one another on the outside. That's Jonathan Woods and the 14 also heavily involved in this wreck. We talked about the straightaways being dangerous. It looks like it could have been another dangerous spot for drivers on the entry turn 1.
It definitely looks to be that way, Sam. And where it really all started was around our champion, the 54 Andrew Hess. He had the 3 of Christian Lawson get to his outside. Those two make contact off of 4, which puts the 54 in the outside wall. They somehow keep it straight and they cause the checkup. That was really down farther around the back here, because this is where you'll see the checkup happen. Right here, up ahead, the 30 of Joshua Robinson is going to be the first one to get jacked up by the 14 there. And then other drivers are going to come in and just pile into this. And again, it's so hard to react to it. Dylan Grimm there, Diego Valle. Look at Kyle Bowling almost just skating by, just going to get clipped, but I think not going to be too bad off.
And sadly for that of Jonathan Woods, Diego Valle, they both are given required damage flags. Going to be sent to pit road to get that damage repaired. And as everyone trying to skate on by, the 4 gives the last little shunt at the end, the 14. And as the drivers pass on by, that's what's going to bring out our 2nd caution of the day. And if you're the field, you're maybe looking at the trends of past races, thinking, okay, that maybe this race isn't fully over, because the last 3 races, there's only been 3 cautions. That's even accounting for the full 500 lap distance that they ran back in season 5, when they only had 3 cautions, season 4 and season 6 as well with that. So Zach, maybe the field's thinking just one more yellow to get through, and then maybe this race can run green.
They're definitely thinking maybe that trim might be broken also. So there's, it's very possible we go green for a long time here. This league is known to do it. So at some point, I know these guys are going to go green for a while. It's just a tricky track, man. Again, lining up with this car and this track combination, you have to have, again, almost inhuman reactions sometimes. You have to be picture perfect. Any slight mistake that causes contact to the rear bumper, you're going to see incidents happen, and that's why, again, the rash of yellows will come at this racetrack with this style of racing with this car. But if we can get the green flag racing, I really think they'll be able to move around and pass, because that's one thing I think you even brought up a little bit is the beginning of the runs are actually the toughest points, in my opinion, in the past, just because everybody has all that grip. But if we can get 30, 40, 50 laps on tires, you will start to see some drivers actually be able to make passes that have conserved that tire. So it'll be fun if we do get that long run.
And with this caution coming out, some drivers taking a risk. Ryan Lynch into pit road, 4 tires and fuel for the 31, back in 22nd position. We'll see how well they can advance with a 23-lap advantage. Yes, some of those 23 laps were under yellow, but maybe it's the right key for the 31. Try to march his way through this field as everyone's about to get stacked up and ready to go. Pace car lights are off, and as we're getting ready to roll off this field, recognizing who is going to get the win. I was talking about, right before the yellow came out, Derek Offerman moving forward, looking strong in the 20 machine, but a driver on the other foot that's really fallen off that I was completely surprised by. Scott Rickard, right before that yellow flag came out, he dropped all the way down to 22nd position. The 05 very much looking human here tonight. So we'll see if he can climb his way forward or if tonight's just going to be a rough patch. As the pace car pulls off, it's time to get back to green flag racing here this evening. Thursday night, Thunder Valley 250 is back underway.
Here we go, down into 1 and 2, and we're all going to jump to that inside and cover off that number 11 of Thomas Ogle, who's needing this good run for himself tonight. But we'll see, can they fight anything? And the thing I've been interested to see is Worrell's been able to do most of his work right from the bottom side. I didn't think the most speed was. I feel like the most speed was up in the top groove, but Worrell making the bottom work.
The bottom's working right now, but also I'm curious on drivers if they're just following in suit and then they'll move up a lane once they get closer to that back bumper, or if they're willing to just stay in line and try to get to the inside, and that's going to be our answer. Thomas Ogle trying to really fight to the inside lane. The 11 feeling like that bottom is where the strength of the speed is.
He feels like he wants to take that lead also. That was a definite look for that positioning. Again, backing up the entry or the middle there, trying to get a good run right to the back bumper of the 6, who will slide up the racetrack. But back farther, this is where it's heating up for some spots, is the 3 of Christian Washington here on the outside. As James Lowe, one of the drivers that's definitely been making a storm this season, he's coming up through.
I mean, Lowe has been looking like a very strong contender of Rookie of the Year, looking to be between the 99 and the 6, as Lowe has been known for these races. He's either qualified up front side of the top 5 and he'll just stay there, or if he's inside of the top 10, he'll stay quiet until the very end when he'll sneak forward into a top 5 position later on. And it looks like here tonight, qualified just inside of the top 10, taking it smooth, easy, and gentle. But expect that 99 to crack the top 5 here very shortly.
Right here on the bottom side, that 99 going to clear that 46 and take over the position from Zach Kreitz, but he sees Elfman up ahead, and the thing he likes to see is what I love to see at racetracks is when these guys are all spread out over the track. He's running the middle to the bottom groove while Elfman, look at him. I mean, he is all the way to the top rope, using every bit of space on this racetrack, and that's what the beauty of Bristol is with this progressive venue.
I mean, it could be the major key. Figure out where drivers are not, and you might be able to find some rhythm for yourself. But it looks like that of James Lowe finding better speed for himself. Inside lane for the 99. Almost fully clear as Offerman tries to gas it up off the exit. But Zach, I know this track has been known to be loose on entry at moments, but it's the exit I'm always nervous about. What are these drivers feeling with as they're 30 laps, over 30, almost 40 laps into this run?
Surprisingly, balance-wise, coming into tonight, most people would probably say, wow, this Gen 4 Cup Series car, all this horsepower, it's got to be tough to put the power down. But not necessarily. These high banks at this concrete racetrack have tons of grip, and you can really apply that throttle. It's amazing how much you can. More or less than anything, I think most people are going to struggle with actually just losing the front of the nose on center off, and that's where it gets tough. You will see the rear end step out, but mostly that's caused due to the front tires first stepping out. So it's more of a four-wheel slide than anything, and it's just overall grip loss. So these drivers are going to deal with that, but I think more or less much easier to drive than what you would expect here tonight.
It's always interesting to see that change. Speaking of change for position up front as Thomas Ogle's changed his mind. Instead of inside lane, take the outside, and the momentum has carried the 11 past the 6 of Worrell. Worrell's trying to keep it there, but not enough strength. The 11 back to the lead point as everyone else seems to be thinking, hey, let's move up a groove or two as you're back in 5th or 6th back.
All it takes is a few drivers to see somebody move up, find some speed, and you'll see a lot of drivers migrate. And that's the tough ordeal. And I think that's kind of, you even alluded to it before, Sam, is, we noticed a lot of people run the bottom. And that is kind of the follow the leader mentality of, well, that guy in front of me is running the bottom, I'm going to run the bottom too. You see someone move up, make a pass, well, then that's where they get those ideas going into their head. So not surprised to start seeing them move around a little bit. I do think if we get a run longer than 50, 60, 70 laps, I think the driver that stays patient and just runs the bottom over and over again, such as Ross Tatum is there in 3rd, is going to be the one that benefits the most.
I think we can watch out for Ross Tatum. We can also watch out for Zach Kreitz. Drivers that really haven't moved too many positions up or shown aggression are the drivers that I'm, like I said, watch out for later into this run. as they continue to rip the bottom for themselves. Other drivers starting to get a little bit still antsy, and that's the battling we were seeing earlier for 14th and 15th position. James McRae, Nate Lynch, and Jason Grattan. Grattan, one of the drivers that was hoping for a better qualifying run, but he is trying to work his way forward as Brian Chu. Aaron Hale makes some slight aggressive moves on the entry of 3.
Close on entry there for Brian Chu. Almost got up into that outside wall with that movement between those two, but Hale takes over the position as Chu's got to settle in. But yeah, this group here getting definitely a little bit mixy, as they would say, as they're trying to swap back and forth positions as Lynch now dropping back into the clutches of Aaron Hale in this 4 machine. But all of these drivers back here fighting for the top side right now. It tells me I think they're struggling for that front turn.
They're struggling. Some of these drivers do have a little bit of extra grip because of pitting under that last yellow to get some service done. Being Aaron Hale, who had some damage repair. I don't know exactly if the 4 took tires or not, but a driver that looks like maybe he did, the 44th Kyle Bowling, he's looking stable, but he's back in 21st position, not looking like he's advancing, as he's just watching and trying to figure out how to pick and choose each position to go forward.
Boland's definitely filling out the situation, I think, right now for him, because caught up in that last incident there. Doesn't want to get any more damage onto that machine as he closes into the back of Brian Lynch here. Max Ward battling for the 19th and 20th position, but seems like this group back here just trying to settle in and do the best they can, because right now only about 3/10 off of our leader when it comes to lap time, so everybody's still very close. But I tell you what, we have had a change up front. Ross Tatum, he's got up to the 2nd spot. Chris Worrell now back to 3rd. There's June White's on the back bumper of him.
And other changes, lap traffic now becoming a factor. You see that 68 on the outside. Diego Valle is slow. He is still dealing with that damage that's just looking to be engine critical damage at this point, as he's going to be the first car 1 lap down. But let's pop on board, get a run with June White, trying to set up the 9 machine of Chris Worrell and make this pass for 3rd position. But Zach, I mean, this track, we talked about it last night a lot with Joshua Altus when he was in the booth with me. It just looks so chaotic at times. The hands, they look a lot smoother than what we were expecting to see.
They really do. Again, the balance is very, very stable. Oh, caution.
And it's going to be Christian Loschik, going to be heavily involved with this one, as it looked to be a little bit of help for the 3 machine. Quick slide, and luckily no one else looks to be involved.
Ooh, yeah. Nobody getting contact from that. That's crazy. And yeah, I mean, it was the slightest bit of contact, but it was kind of similar to what we've seen already before between the 2 of Mike Lynch and the 49 Adam Pettit, except this time Adam Pettit was in the 2's position. He was the one giving the bump to the 3, who somehow saved that. I really, that was so impressive to see everybody get around him.
Extremely impressive to see, as the 3 of Loschik's going to fall back to 12th position. 49 up to 9th place, says Adam Pettit. Biggest mover of the race of the drivers instead of our top 10. The biggest mover is going to be James McRae in 13th. And this is going to be a critical time. Majority of the field has not come into pit road for tires. And it looks like majority of them, they want to continue to stay out on track.
Not too surprised with 3 sets in the pit box, Sam. I think these guys know I cannot waste a set of tires here in the first 50 laps. That'll leave me with 2 sets for the final 200. I think more than anything, these drivers want to get at least maybe 75 to 100 into this race before they use that first set, just to feel a little bit more confident that, hey, we got 2 sets for this final distance, because 200 laps with 2 sets of tires would not make you feel very comfortable.
No, it would not. And because of the timing of that yellow, Diego Valle luckily going to be getting the lucky dog position for the 68. To get back out there on track, but could be going a lap down because of damage repairs. It was very slow, and expecting maybe more cautions to balloon out. You may want to think about just taking that lap down so you can get the repairs enough that you can be raceable. But it looks like 68 able to beat out the pace car and will stay on the lead lap.
Great job to stay on the lead lap, and it's kind of a split decision if you want to take that damage repair or stay on the lead lap. It's always interesting at Bristol. It's tough too, because when you're that far back, such as Diego Valle back in 25th, that's a long train of cars around a half-mile track. It really doesn't give you too much time to get into pit road and get your car fixed. So it's a very tough situation, but I think he's going to slowly just get that worked on and try to do his best to stay on the lead lap, who we saw him lose that lap quickly there after it went green just because of that damage.
hoping to stay out of trouble. But if you'd like to get a new sensation of feels, ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing. One of the major sponsors here at Stars and Stripes. Instead of just hearing the sounds, why not feel the sounds from ButtKicker? Go get your Gamer 2 at ButtKicker.com. It's a physical mask that moves when the sound is rattling. So when you get those sensations, when the engines are roaring, or when you're feeling those tires slide, you can get the sensation and be prepared to react proper. Get your ButtKicker now as the drivers stacked up, ready to get rolling. It's going to be Thomas Ogle, Ross Tatum, Chris Worrell going to be in third. The driver that gets the lucky fourth place spot, June White. We'll see if the 09 can take the advantage here as the drivers stacked up, ready to go. There is a huge gap between first and fourth. Someone's a full car length ahead as Thomas Ogle just going to easily breeze on by, and Ross Tatum can move up.
Ross Tatum has to be so happy right there with June White just leaving that much room on the table. Very surprised to see that as they come through 3 and 4. It looks like we're all going to take a shot down to the inside of the 21, but the 21 Ross Tatum is saying that went way better than I thought.
I'm still confused. That was so much space given, but June White must have not been feeling comfortable on that restart. Instead, gives up the space, will just fall in line, and an early caution strikes on this restart. It's on the backstretch. Get a couple of drivers facing the wrong direction.
Looks like George Kovacic involved in this one here, Sam, and 65 here parked on the back straightaway. And again, I think what we're going to see, it's just simple contact from the front bumper to the rear bumper that can easily send these cars around. And yeah, fourth caution of the night. Looks like we broke that trend here as we get the instant replay.
Well, our next biggest goal will be 6, but you see there out to exit the corner, Aaron Hill, who just came into pit road to get service done, gets in the rear bumper of George Kovacic, spins him around, and those bang moments of when a driver's just slightly slower than you are off the exit of the corner. We saw it late in last night's race, where there's really a lack of control. You come off the corner with so much speed, like you've been saying all night so far, Zach, you need inhuman reaction times to try to avoid these wrecks. And it feels almost impossible with the way that these Gen 4s react with one another with the front and rear bumper.
It really is, Sam. This is the toughest thing because I feel like looking at that incident there we were doing, that bump that Aaron Hill gave George Kovacic was very light. It's just, again, how they match up. And any other oval car we see here in iRacing, that's a simple bump. Maybe Kovacic slides for a moment, maybe just gets, a slight, shock sensation to, the rear end there as he gets hit. But nothing like that where it just picks up the rear end and kind of flings you around. And I hope, I really hope maybe we can see that improved. Again, this car is it's an ARCA series car, and it is not meant to be this Gen 4 series car like it was. It was a mistake. So, like, we might see more updates with this car in the future, maybe, and help that. But it's just one of those things that, unfortunately, you got to deal with. With the beauties of this car, it's maybe the one little blemish.
Yeah, and with updates always talked about, and I know there's some major ones that iRacing's getting prepared for. They've been showing off the rain aspect and their dynamic weather that's supposedly coming through. We don't know when officially that's going to drop. A lot of excitement about that. Also, scans for tracks, new scans for new vehicles and tracks be given. Who knows? The Gen 4 could get that little bit of brush that it needs to be the best that could be out there on track. Talking about cautions, we broke over that crest. We had, again, the last 3 races were only 3 cautions for those races. We've now hit 4 cautions, and we look at some of their past races here at Bristol. The first 2 of the season, back in season 1 and 2, a lot of cautions were made at those courses, which enabled a lot of movement for who was leading that race to win. Those drivers, Kyle McCoy and Dylan Glass, won those races. Both of them led the most laps. So for Thomas Ogle, you're hoping to find a little bit of that magic of leading the most and getting into victory lane, even with the cautions that could start ballooning out as you see the base car lights off, and we're about to get rolling.
You talk about laps led by Ogle. I mean, I look no farther back than when they had the 500-mile or 500-lap race there. He led so many laps. I mean, even last season here in the championship race, when he was in the championship 4, he led 108 of the 255. So, I mean, he was very good at leading laps here. I want to see if he can pull off that first victory here, Stars and Stripes at Bristol, because he's definitely been one of the drivers to beat here the past few times they've came.
And he's been kicking himself for both of those races. He's thought that it's been a win for sure, and then late something just crumbles as the pace car pulls off, races back under green for the Thunder Valley 250 as Thomas Ogle gone, dusted, and June White a little bit of a better launch here as he potentially could keep third as the 09 settles in, and it looks like maybe just, if you're not able to make the pass initially, might want to just settle into fourth.
I think you're exactly right. I mean, if there's going to be a couple more cautions, fourth is not the worst place to restart. It's probably the best, other than the lead position on the outside. But June White much better there, was much more caught up to the leader and didn't have as big of a gap, but still not able to hold Ross Tatum off. And Ross Tatum was definitely very happy, I'm sure, to see that.
Able to hold on to second position. June White trying to rocket his way on the outside. Chris Whirl. Again, when we were under green flag conditions, that 6 was starting to show weakness and was falling back. Now down to fourth. And Andrew Medlin, who's been one of the biggest movers so far in our top 10. That 12 machine now up to fifth. Could be a factor to watch out for. It's still trying to get into victory lane. It's been a while since we talked about Andrew Medlin getting a win. I know that 12 is always looking for victory lane as we get our Andrew Medlin cam on the bottom right as he's trying to move up a bit further in our top 5.
Andrew Medlin, always fun to watch on the cam for sure, and he's a short track ace, man. He loves short tracks. Have got to meet this guy a little bit and learn more about him. Did the podcast with him, which was one of the coolest podcasts, but definitely a short track guy, and I think Bristol falls right in that wheelhouse for him right there with Martinsville. And right now in the mix with his Lowe, he's giving him the challenge for this top 5 spot.
James Lowe, 99 machine inside lane is where the 99 actually has made most of his passes. Looks to try to settle in. But the further up you get through the field, the harder it is to make these passes. And the 99's getting a sense of what it's like. Instead of making the pass, they're stalling out and losing time at 1/10 each lap to the driver in front of them in fourth of Chris Whirl. So these drivers need to make this move quickly, otherwise they could be losing even more critical time.
You're exactly right, Sam. It really need to get the pass done because this side-by-side racing, not only is it slowing you down, but it's also hurting your tires because you're trying to clear that driver. You're trying to use the tire to get by him, but it's only just a never-ending battle, and it's continuing on. And Kreitz is just sitting here licking his chops saying, all right, you guys continue to do that. I'm going to sit here and just save my stuff.
I mean, Zach Kreitz is also kind of hoping that they start getting moving because the driver that is one of the biggest movers, Adam Pettit, in 9th position. Yes, he's been a magnet around 2 of our cautions so far this evening. The 49 also looking decently quick for himself up inside of the top 10, and James McRae, his teammate, back in 11. Both have been moving up quite smoothly. As you're seeing the battle now for third place is June White, as well as Chris Whirl. We're having a little bit of action there.
They thought about it for a moment. There is now Whirl going to dive back to the inside, and contact made as the 6 a little deep into the corner, and great hold on to that for both of those drivers. The 6 was losing the rear, and I'm sure the 09 got a little bit of a shake there as he had to hold on to the high side. But this top 4 here kind of opening up a gap now as Lowe has finally got clear of Andrew Medlin, and we'll see, do they pay the price or are they just, able to efficiently make time as they're coming up on traffic now? Diego Valle, who is almost right in the mix of the line.
And Diego brushing the outside wall at the exit of the corner, the 90, that of the 68, not looking comfortable. And this was some drama that was building up. Bristol lap traffic, it's a known factor to always watch out for. As the 68 falls back, the damage is still so substantial, and Whirl gets a clip, and around goes the 6.
Oh
no, and it's right back into the field, and this is the big one. As drivers pile in, there was just nowhere to go. As the field comes to a scattering halt on the entry of turn 3.
Interesting incident right there, Sam. Is I think the 6 maybe thought the 68 was going to lift and let him clear, and I can understand that reasoning for kind of going up the racetrack to maybe think the lap car was going to give you the benefit of the doubt there, especially someone that hurt and damaged. But Valle just not lifting out of the throttle here, and then it's going to cause this major collision here as the incident ahead of him is what's Offerman right here we're riding on board is going to get involved with.
Offerman trying his best as we're trying to find the camera that's going to give the best view of this incident of drivers piling in, and you see them already trying to avoid contact, and we'll see them coming into this picture as the 6 comes back up into the field. Just nowhere to go for Medlin, and also for Derek Offerman. It just turns into a full scatter as everyone piles in quickly.
He's just getting lifted up from the rear end. You see the 49 Adam Pettit He was getting hit in the rear end. I mean, it was just multiple collisions there, and man, unfortunate right there to have that incident happen. And right here we'll get a little bit different shot to see. And I think it was Robinson who was involved in it once again. So 30 Robinson caught another one.
As you see, Pettit lifts up the 20 there, and just more drivers piling in later on as they had come to a complete stop, as it's going to bring out another caution on top of the tally we already had. And with that, Zach, the timing of this yellow could unsettle a lot of the drivers up front, because we got about that of 12 drivers staying out, still on the same set of tires they started the race off, and a majority of the field coming into pit road that were caught up in that wreck, getting damage repair and 4 sets of tires to work with.
No surprise to see a lot of these guys coming down right here, but I know personally, just looking back right there before we had that yellow, I mean, the lap times were still pretty quick. When they got going, there were still 15.2s, 15.3s. Ross Tatum's was a 15.1 for his best lap. So, you know, as the tires begin to heat up, yes, they will see those drivers that just put on the fresh tires really start to come through. But it's going to take a few laps here, and hitting like Ogle did there to start back in 12th, that puts you in a pretty dangerous zone right there.
It's good to see what it's like to look at Bristol Motor Speedway, a track that some say you have to go at least once, the last great Coliseum. I mean, Zach, you think about big racetracks to go to. People think about Daytona. They think about going to the championship race at Phoenix, but Bristol at night, a special event for a lot of people to go to.
It really is, Sam. I've glad to say I've once been there before, and sit in a similar spot to this. I mean, this is pretty high up there, but sit in the grandstand, pretty similar position to this. But man, it is a spectacle because, again, you can see the whole racetrack. I've been to a lot of racetracks in NASCAR. I've been to Martinsville, I've been to Bristol, I've been to multiple intermediate tracks, and there's nothing like, in my opinion, a Martinsville and a Bristol race where you get to see that half-mile track right in front of you, a little bull ring, and it really is some spectacle that I really recommend anybody out there that has the means to do it, go to a Bristol night race. You will not be disappointed.
Well, we are stacked and ready to get rolling. Ross Tatum going to be the lead driver with Zach Kreitz, Trey Jackson, Jason Gratton, Max Ward going to be your top 5. A very different grouping of drivers up front. Again, talked about drivers. A lot of them came into pit road to get tires for themselves. And now let's see the difference of speed. Can the front, about that of 9 drivers, hold off those that just got fresh rubber? Let's find out as the drivers are now entering turn number 3.
Great start for Ross Tatum up front. He actually had a little bit of wheel spin, but this group here is the one that's really getting mixy. It's Trey Jackson right in front of Jason Gratton, and also Scott Rickard right there in 05. Had a quiet night after dropping back a good bit, stayed out. He's going to be right in the mix of things now. As you can see, it's getting mixy back there, too wide for multiple spots.
Too wide, trying to make their way forward, as it's going to be seen the drivers back in 10th place. Thomas Ogle, Joshua Altes, as well as James Lowe, all coming into pit road to get tires for themselves. But they're stacked side by side with the wall, and just showing, even with fresh rubber, that inside lane isn't as comfortable as they want to be. Almost 3 wide, as we're seeing that of Altis getting shuffled around. I talked to that 94 last night, said, hey, are you excited to run and race on Thursday? He said, I'm now kind of nervous after watching the WSSR Roast Gems Cup Series, and I would imagine he's feeling the nerves now in the middle of this hornet's nest.
I tell you what, he's doing a good job because he's had to check up 3-4 times with the 11 of Ogle, looking like he wants to jump up top, but then staying down low. So great heads-up jobs because, again, those are the checkups that lead to the drivers running in the back of people and causing those jackups during those wrecks. But right now, it's a logjam. McRae and the 6 of Worrell, they are stacking things up.
And the Chris of Worrell on the old tires. McRae as well going to be on the older tires. So as this wall continues to stay side by side, they're not enabling the drivers that have fresher rubber to utilize that freshness. And it's allowing Ross Tatum to just pull away and build up this gap. But the patience is going to be the big thing here for the 11. Can Thomas Ogle be patient enough to make the move, or will we even see James Lowe decide to use the bumper? Could we see other chain reaction wrecks? Drivers' patience here at short tracks could be going away as they're bumping and banging and almost making contact off the exit of the corner.
Who makes it 3 wide first? I'm telling you, push is going to come to shove here. Everybody's stacking up with these old tires right in front of them. This is going to come to a head at some point right here, and we're going to have an incident just like that.
There it goes. Tap, contact sideways, and riding on board with McRae, saving it for himself, but Loschik in the 3 was not able to.
Oh, and there's more wrecking June White around in the 09 somehow. As oh, there was some extracurriculars there after his few drivers got into it.
Well, it looked to be the 2 did not slow down, and he ran into June White, spun him around. Altus had nowhere to go, piles in. That was that secondary incident. As Christian Loschik in the 3, the ultimate driver that brought out the yellow. The chain reaction, drivers coming in, not able to slow down in time, getting the bump, and away they go.
Just like that, it's easy to do, and got a little bit more takers here on pit road. It's like Scott Rickard in the 05 is going to come down. Chris Worrell, he had enough of that as he was right in the mix of all that, and not surprised. But Ross Tatum, he was enjoying that. I'll say that much. He was definitely enjoying that, but now he will see the tires of Thomas Ogle up to the 6th position. So Ogle's definitely going to have a much clearer track ahead of him now, but at the same time, Ross Tatum's still sitting in a good position. If this goes long enough green, he's going to have that extra set, and the other drivers around him may have to decide to take that next set also.
I have to. And as drivers come into pit road, we are going to take our first commercial break of the night as we're closing in on lap 100 of this evening. Still plenty of great action to give you here on Freaking Fast Broadcasting. You're watching the Stars and Stripes here tonight, race number 6, Thunder Valley 250. We will be back after this commercial break to give you more of Bristol action. They're 5 wide behind for 5th.
Oh my, the 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work. They make it last, bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here, coming off a 4. That's it.
It's bottom line, here it comes. I know Carter gets wrecked. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Trinity diving down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He does it. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck it.
Oh, they wrecked. They wrecked each other. The top 2 bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they got to be careful. Oh no, the 4 demolishes in the 28.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on. Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to...
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being patient with us. We are back to green flag action. Thomas Ogle, June White, James Lowe going to be pulling away from the rest of the field up front, as everyone else trying to tiptoe their way around a handful of drivers that still are on the first set of tires they took the green with here this evening, that being Ross Tatum as well as Joshua Robinson and the 8 of Jason Grattan still need to come to pit road to use their first set of tires. Rest of the field have either used their first, some on their second, as we are seeing the field a lot more spread out. Zach, there was almost an incident when we went back to green flag racing that bring out a yellow, but currently we're starting to see a lot more spacing that can help out this field.
Yeah, we were surprised not to see that yellow flag come out, but fortunately for these drivers, it stayed green. As we're watching right now in the Trey Jackson back here around the 15th position, right behind Altice. Altice is going to try to go around the outside of Offerman, as Offerman's going to make that passes. Drivers all trying to settle in right now, and like you said, I mean, we got those drivers on the old tires. We also got Kreitz out there too, and the concern for staying on old tires at Bristol is because this is a 15-second lap time, and if you're a half a second slower than a driver with newer tires for 30 laps, you go a lap down here, and that's where Zach Kreitz is worrying, because right now he's 13 seconds behind Ogle on the 114 lap old tires. It's going to be a matter of no time before Ogle's there lapping him.
Ogle is just about 2 laps away from putting down the 46 a lap down, who was a factor inside of our top 5 at a time in this race, but instead he's now battling with that of Ryan Lynch, as Lynch was caught up in that incident, but the speed difference you can already see there of Ryan Lynch in the 31. He might have been caught up into the spill, but the tires are so much quicker, and the 11 is the driver for the lead, who might think about pushing it 3 wide, instead follows the 46. And it's going to be the inside, just like that. Zach Kreitz, a lap down.
And it's so tough for him because, like you said, I mean, he's 17 spots down from where he started, and he was running right where he started before all this kind of, pit stops went down. And now you can see this is what happens when you stay out here long at Bristol and you don't time it right and it goes green for long enough. You quickly go a lap down. So now he's going to definitely be hoping for a lucky dog, but his concern now is, Andrew Hess not far from going a lap down also.
And now it's going to be a mixture of drivers on those old tires, those in new, and who can avoid the traffic the best. And is it going to be giving you an advantage or not, as we see the 6 machine of Chris Worrell up to 8th spot, as he's been able to try to rebound, caught up in that last spill that we saw between himself and Diego Valle to bring out the incident. Still dealing with some slight damage, but the 6 still quick enough to be inside of our top 10. Other drivers, though, still in a very aggressive spot, middle of the pack, where you find the 05 watching everyone trying to get by Joshua Robinson on those 120 lap old tires.
Along with Ross Tatum right there. These two are grouped together, and it's just showing. This group 8 seconds behind the leader of Ogle here after it's went green. And again, older tires, you just lose so much time here. Ross Tatum was I'm feeling good about the strategy of staying out that long, but after now, he's probably concerned about it. The only thing that he would have a benefit right now is the advantage of having still 3 sets of tires, while the rest of the drivers who pit already having 2. But right now, if it goes green long enough, those extra sets, that extra set of tires ain't going to matter too much.
It's not going to matter at all, especially if we see a lot more drivers going a lap down. That could what this race could turn into, because like you said, middle of the pack, almost 10 seconds away from our leader. And what you do is you take how fast one lap is. The leader's putting down to how far back they are. And the leader now is only just about 4 seconds away from putting you a lap down. That's just a corner away. Thomas Ogle is exiting 4 now, and the drivers we're just looking at, they're in the center of 1 and 2.
Yep. I mean, it's how it is here in Bristol. It's so tough, man. You want to save those tires because you see how much the benefit of them can be here at Bristol. But if you play it wrong, if you take it too far, you can really have a huge issue. And most people would say, well, why haven't they pit yet? Why haven't they done? Well, if you pit here under green, you're not just going to go 1 lap down, not even 2 possibly. You might go close to 3. But Ross Tatum, I can say right now, he's involved in an incident, and the caution's out with him.
Caution is out, and luckily no one else going to get involved with it. It was Nate Lynch and as well going to be the 21 Ross Tatum. Tatum was so slow holding off that whole entire pack. You saw in Thomas Ogle's windshield that they was slowly chipping away and closing into. It was all being held up by this 21 of Ross Tatum, and the wreck out what the 21 maybe was the way that he wanted to get the caution, but at least he got the yellow, salvaging the fact that you can now come into pit road and you finally use that set of tires.
Well, he definitely didn't want to get the damage, that's for sure. But I will say he probably does enjoy the fact he'll be able to get new tires here, and he's on the lead lap. So he's going to get himself into that pit box, get it worked on, and get him 4 tires. Same for Robinson, also in the 30. Those two are going to be loving this caution here. Looks like Jason Gratton, I believe, did he stay on the lead lap there, Sam? Because he was close to going a lap down. I think he actually went a lap down. That caused Kreitz to stay 1 lap down.
Yeah, it was close. It was either going to be between Jason Gratton, Hess, or that of Kreitz. And I believe Hess might have been the lucky dog, the great gainer for himself. We're going to have to wait and see once the drivers come across the line here, which should be giving the indication on who's going to get the lucky dog spot. And I believe with Kreitz coming into pit road, still a lap down, it was Andrew Hess who got that lucky dog spot.
Interesting to see. And it's, again, drivers running up in the top 10. You call the strategy wrong just that little bit, and I mean, it literally just can end your night almost. It can put you in a position where now you're fighting back from a lap down. Luckily for his case, this is not a 200 lap race. If this is a 200 lap race with 130 laps into the books, you would be a little bit concerned, I think, to be a lap down. But with it not even yet to 100 to go, Kreitz still can rebound from this. It's still a tall mountain to climb, though.
And Diego Valle playing a little bit of gamemanship, and he gets away with it. The 68 coming into pit road to get service done right after the yellow flag was thrown. Able to get service done, and technically he pitted when pit road was closed. They got the black flag clear, and the 68's going to be able to keep his position now.
Interesting to see there, Sam. That's an interesting call there. So maybe we'll see if something else is given to him to maybe figure that out. But yeah, I mean, Valle playing it strong right there. But we'll see how he can get into the mix now, as he's seemingly got his car in somewhat of a better position. It's still very damaged, though.
Very damaged, and actually, because he entered pit road when it was closed on entry, when the yellow flag just came out, he was given an EOL, and all EOLs that are given to drivers at the end of the line penalty, even if that black flag gets cleared, you're still going to the end of the line. So that's where the 68 is heading for himself. So he thought he was going to be able to stay up front, not going to be able to do so. Instead, he'll go to the end of the line, but up front, instead, it's his teammate, June White, Thomas Ogle going to be the top 2, and it's Ogle in the control on the outside. No surprise. That is where every driver has restarted so far if you're in that lead position. It just gets such a major launch. And as we're past the halfway marker for these drivers, this is crunch time. This could be when the race could balloon out if you're not careful of cautions, breeding cautions as the pace car pulls off. And here we go as the drivers up front take off on the restart.
Great start from the outside lane. I mean, White, was left standing still. It's kind of the second or third time tonight that White has just been, almost awful on the restart. That's unfortunate for him, but we'll see if he can get back up there.
It's just, you cannot time that outside lane at all, and it just clogs you up when you get into the throttle, and it allows Andrew Medlin now up to second place for the 12 machine. As you got to see that restart from his point of view, really was trying to get through the gears cleanly, was able to do so, and now James Lowe into the fight for the 99.
Trying to fight here for everything they got. They know it's do or die now. I mean, it's very, very tough in this race to get the track position. You never know when a caution is going to come out. I think that's the one thing is the hardest mental battle for a driver in picking and choosing what you do. When we go to intermediate style tracks, we've had that feeling a lot of times, man, this race could go green and I need to manage my stuff. Here, you're always thinking, man, this race could have a yellow. And if I give up a spot, that yellow flag comes out, it's just not, everything I gave up is not going to be worth it. So drivers are kind of picking and choosing what they want to do, but it's the ones that are really sending it up front that are opening up the gaps, while others farther back, like Ross Tatum, are trying to make up with the new tires.
And Ross Tatum trying to stick with the other pack of drivers that have already used this set of tires on that most recent yellow, being led by Joshua Altis as well as the 8 of Jason Grattan. They're trying to make their way forward, but Aaron Hale saw caught up in a lot of those early incidences in this race in the first 50 laps. Now in 4th place for the 4. This is looking like Aaron Hale of the past. Always a sneaky driver to get up front at the end of these races.
Wow, look at the power move up to the outside there to get to the quarter panel of the 20 or the 12 of Andrew Medlin, and that 4 going to power around the outside. Look at that, great job by him. And they got to watch out. Chris Worrell here, 43 laps since his last pit, 59 for the other drivers around him. So a little bit fresher tires on the 6 machine. He could be looking to make a run here late in the run.
Out of all the drivers inside of the top 10, this 6 machine has the freshest tires. The driver with the freshest tires of anyone on track goes to Joshua Altis back in 11th position. As you're seeing the stack up that's being made, once again, Nate Lynch trying not to be the clog, but he's got James McRae. These two are really putting on a show, as here comes Scott Rickard, who finally cracks into the top 10. The 05 back into the mix.
Got Rickard there showing the aggression that we like to see from that 05, usually right up in the middle of the field. But you can see here, Nate Lynch is struggling, and he is in the den. It is everybody here trying to take advantage of this 25 and really just get him out of the way. It's tough because, again, this 3 wide here is just so tough to do. When it's 2 wide stacked up like that and you're struggling on the top groove and you have drivers on new tires, it is very tough not to look in your mirror and make a mistake.
And the driver that's being hindered the most is the one directly behind this 25. That's the 30 of Joshua Robinson. Instead of staying down low with his other competitors that pitted on the last caution and was able to just breeze their way forward, he has been stuck on the outside and is just losing position after position. Nate Lynch, he's just in survival mode at this moment with some of the oldest tires out there on track.
And it can feel like you're just the lone man out there defending the hungry pack of wolves sometimes, because when you're that first driver on the old set of tires that drivers are driving through, it just feels like you're getting ran over.
Oh no! Zach Kreitz, others, they pile in on the through that of 1 and 2. And luckily for Andrew Hess, he ducked it down low and got out of the way, as everyone else has a little bit of a pile up in the center of the corner. And once again, drivers trying to get aggressive. They were 3 wide right in front of that spill. And drivers get into one another, and looks to be Zach Kreitz as well as Brian Burchett, the 2 catalysts to bring out this caution.
And this is another common yellow, just like we see always here. 3 wide coming off corner, Kovacic up top, McRae in the middle, 44 Bowling, and I think the 46 of Kreitz is seeing that. He's checking up a little bit, not to run the back of them. And the 33 of Brian Burchett, just way too deep in there, gets to the rear end, and then there's nothing you can do from there. It's a pileup.
And for that is Zach Kreitz. This was a caution he was hoping to have, but not be involved in being trapped 1 lap down, put some desperation in the 46 eyes, and they now caught up with major damage. Joshua Robinson also caught up in this one. Talked about how he lost so much time being held up by Nate Lynch. Well, he's in the mix. You see the 30 try to bounce to the outside lane, nowhere to go. Heavy required damage for the 30, and as well for the 33, who gets propped up into the sky.
Yeah, it's tough to miss stuff here at Bristol, man. You're when you're up in that high lane like Robinson was, there's really nowhere for him to go. And again, it's just the strategy. This place, I feel like it's one of the tracks that I feel like causes more anxiety for a driver than any when it comes to pit strategy, because you know that, yeah, you want to have the fresher tires, but half the time when you get the fresher tires in a group, it puts you back in the middle of the field. And when there's different speed levels like that, with just drivers stacking up on top of each other, sooner or later the accordion effect is going to happen, and you're going to have a pile up like that. So it's bound to happen, but you gotta stick to your gut sometimes, and sometimes it's the wrong call just to put yourself in the middle of it.
And with some drivers around the carnage coming into pit road to get repairs done, other driver with, like I noted on Brian Burchett in pit road getting required damage for himself. Zach Kreitz luckily was able to get the required damage. It was just a short pit stop, broken toe length fixed instantly, and he's back out there on track. But we'll see how the engine is looking for himself. A lot of drivers though came into pit road here. Zach 12th on back, getting service done. A lot taking tires and fuel, led by James Lowe, Kyle Bowling, Mike Lynch, Christian Loschen, Andrew Medlin into pit road, and as well Diego Valle falls down to 22nd position, but that 68 was looking pretty quick, even with the amount of damage he's been dealing with all night long.
It is very interesting to see some of these pit stops be made here at this point, and I will say, this is going to mix things up even that much more, because it was kind of a split bag. I mean, Ross Tatum on with those 20-lap with the 20-lap old tires, Joshua Altus, Jason Gratton, they're third, fifth, and sixth already. I mean, if you're Ogle and Worrell, you know it's probably not going to last very long for them, because these new tires are already right here, and this is the advantage of someone like Ross Tatum, them, running that strategy of, getting back in the mix and almost being involved in something, but luckily you luck out, and then you have the track position for late in the race like this.
As drivers getting pit stops made up front, Thomas Ogle going to try his best, but like you said, the drivers with freshest rubber going to be Altus, major one to watch out for, as well as Jason Gratton, Ross Tatum, and Andrew Hess that are inside of the top 10. Everyone else that just pitted outside of the top 12. Pace car is off. Green flag is out of the air for the Thunder Valley 250 here at Bristol. 100 laps are now left to go. Less than 100 now. Make it 99 for Thomas Ogle up front.
Ogle with a good start, but Worrell did not get a great one, but he was able to launch off a 2, and he's going to put the pressure on for Ogle. Those little bit fresher tires for him. He's trying to launch and get away from the new ones behind him.
Recognizing what this is all about. Get up front, get the clean air, and try to pull away and hold off the drivers that, for some of them, have 30-lap advantage, but stop for a second. It's Andrew Medlin spun around, and other drivers piling in late.
Oh, big collision there late, and Medlin just getting, creamed. And again, these cars just flying in the air when you get hit. It just lifts people up. The nose of these things is just a very angled object that is almost like a snowplow sometimes.
Just nowhere to go for themselves. Other drivers getting spun around off the exit. You're going to see the 12 machine, Andrew Medlin, aggressively trying to move forward. He sees Mike Lynch, who's on those older tires, trying to get to the inside. Got to be side by side off the exit of the corner, but just being squeezed on the exit. Really tough to deal with. The two banking off and just a simple clip, and away the 12 goes.
We've seen that a couple times already tonight, and that's just Bristol. It happens. I think the 2 even had something similar earlier where he kind of came out the wall and hit Adam Pettit. So you get close up to that wall, you bounce off it sometimes, and then boom. But we're going to get to see a big old hit right here is the 33 of Brian Burchett, I think, trying to get slowed down here right in the mix. And look, with Diego Valle right there, kind of hip checked him into it. And Andrew Medlin goes flying, and the front end's gone, and required damage for that 12.
Yeah, it all could have worked out, but the Adam Pettit sliding into that wreck kind of took away any opening for Diego Valle and Burchett to get through that incident. Kind of pinched him up into that wall and forcing the massive collision for themselves. And a rarity to see, but it looks to be that Brian Burchett is disqualified from this race. He's right on board with the 33 machine.
See right here, and that door closing, and just a 12 sitting there, man. And
I'm looking
heavy.
at it, Zach. He was flying in there. I think his ultimate goal, again, was just to go down low, but there was no area to go down low because Pettit slid into Andrew Medlin, and We are not expecting some of those moves to happen, but just like that, an instant big wreck for the 12 as he'll be dealing with that major damage.
He's gonna have to definitely deal with it now, man. Sitting in pit road, and like you said, Brian Burchett disqualified, so I don't know if that's due to incident penalty, but definitely a tough ordeal for him to be out of this race after that incident. So heavy hits and some drivers knocked out of here, but now Chris Worrell going to assume the lead, and like we said, Ogle coming to pit road too. So his timing here, that's going to put him back in 19th, Sam.
Yeah, and being stuck in the middle of this pack, we just saw it there. It is not a safe place to be. The only safe position could be the leader on the restart, and that's it. Every single time you're out on track here at Bristol, you could be caught up in a mess, and you never know what could happen. Pace car lights are off. We're going to be going this time by. We talked about ButtKicker earlier on. Want to give a quick shout out to Next Level Racing. Next Level Racing, if you want to go get your racing rig to level up your racing experience, go on over to nextlevelracing.com and get yourself prepared. They got budgets, rigs, or you can get the big boy ones and pay a little bit extra to make sure that you feel comfortable while racing. Thank you to ButtKicker and Next Level Racing. As the drivers stacked up, ready to get rolling, the 6, the 94. Who's going to be able to hold off some of the faster drivers behind him? James Lowe, Kyle Bolling's hoping to mix in as they're going to be inside the top 10. But Joshua Altus needs a fantastic run as he's going to keep it just in front of the 8 machine.
Let's see what Altus can do. He's been thrusted into a great positioning with these much fresher tires. And just, I mean, overall, 20-30 spots up from where he started. Altus really coming on strong here with the strategy he's employed, and the speed he's shown is now going to be able to drive to the inside here down into 1, and he should have the drive through the center here to take the lead.
Trying to keep it, but where will the 6's speed be? Just fast enough to keep the 94 to the inside lane, and now here comes some other fast drivers that are trying to make it in the mix. The 21 of Ross Tatum going to be a fast driver to watch out for, but just like that, Joshua Altus to the lead, Jason Gratton to second, and the fresh rubber has advanced the drivers to talk about who's going to come into pit road, utilize their tires the best. Well, we're seeing the best tires strategy working right now for Joshua Altus and Jason Gratton, but they got to be careful of James Lowe, who's back in 6th.
James Lowe is definitely flying up here with the freshest tires of them all, and also Ross Tatum, they're making the pass for 3rd now. This 21 could be up in the mix, but this is a race that's going to have a mixed bag of strategies, and I'm telling you, when it comes down to the end of this thing, I don't know who's going to be in position for the win.
I mean, it could be if we have a caution with 50 laps to go or with 40 laps to go, maybe even 30. That could be the final time that you want to come into pit road. Otherwise, you make your bed and you stay in it. As you're seeing the 99 working the outside lane. Will he duck it down low? And he will on Chris Worrell. James Lowe, chance to win here this evening. And also Kyle Bowling, one of the fastest drivers from practice, was the 44. He didn't get the qualifying run that he wanted, but this 44 machine, Zach, he could be trying to steal a win here this season.
Kyle Bowling, what a job by him. Fastest in practice, got caught up in that wreck after the back qualifying run, and now right in the mix is he will be the 2nd driver on those freshest tires. So this is looking good for the 44 team. Is Ogle, who just pit 8 laps or 8 laps later than what this 44 did. He's only up to 17th, so those other fresh tires not making the headway they need already.
No, they're not. And just you're seeing the the traffic that they're dealing with. It's not lap traffic, it's just traffic in general. When you got 2 drivers stuck side by side, so much slower than you have to be patient and hope that they can clean up and get single file fast enough that you can make a move, or at least guess what lane's the faster lane. As the 11 moves up, June White defends the 11, not allowing that front bumper to make the move initially, but you see that extra speed. 11 just too fast on the inside, but that's just a battle for 15th position.
It really is, exactly. Only the battle for 15th, and I mean, right now, if you're Thomas Ogle, you're already 4.5 seconds behind the leader, Joshua Altus. So you can see, restarting this far back at Bristol, you can quickly get caught up right in the mixes. Now he's going to be diving by the inside of the 14, or the 24, sorry, Brian Lynch is now maybe going past George Kovacic, who's 7 laps down. But you can see, I mean, just the new tires, so fast when he gets open track, but you can get clogged up very fast here and slowed down.
And speaking about getting slowed down, well, no one could slow down the 99. James Lowe is up to 2nd place, trying to force the issue on Joshua Altus to make a mistake. And just trying to get enough clearance. Finally, he's able to get by the 8 of Jason Grattan, but now a little slight bump trying to get moving forward as Derek Offerman gets back out on the racing surface, low to the inside, and just like that, the 99 pokes the nose, leads a lap. James Lowe, fresher tires, showing the strength for himself.
James Lowe, he's going to take it low there and take that lead. So that's a great job by him. As you can just see, I mean, much fresher tires. He just needed the clear Grattan to have the opportunity to go to the inside of the 94, and he just drove right on by. Is now bowling in the similar position. He just wants to get clear of this 8 here, get a good enough drive off where he can dive to the inside of the 94, and right here he could be able to clear off a 4 because he can't let that 99 get too far out.
Absolutely not. But if the 99 does get too far out, he will have to deal with some lap traffic, as he's going to have a lot of traffic to deal with because of how different a lot of these strategies have been. Drivers are going to be caught very quickly. Only 19 drivers are left on the lead lap, but drivers that are already a lap down, 1, 2, some 7. This is going to be a quick battle of, can you get through lap traffic just as cleanly as getting through the lead lap traffic?
You're exactly right, Sam, because, yeah, all the different strategies, all the different varying speed levels. Low, I mean, right here, you can see off the nose of him. Yeah, he can only see one car, but look at that. That's the first little set of cars that are on the older set of tires. And he's going to quickly, I mean, the lap times that they're running compared to him are upwards of about a half a second slower. So it's only going to take a couple laps for that 99 to be knocking on the door of all those cars.
It's going to be quick. And for Kyle Bowling, he's finally moved up to second, and he's going to be 1 second off of our leader. So trying to close in that gap the best that he can. Ross Tatum has finally closed in for the battle, going off for 3rd place between Altus, Grattan, and Ross. Ryan Chu, who's on the same strategy as our top 2, up to 6th. The 18 could be having one of his best runs of the season here this evening. Could be marching for a top 3 run if this race stays green, or could it be the 17 of James McRae in 7th? The 17 machine, Zach, he's been the magnet of carnage these last couple of weeks, but tonight he's up to 7th in a good sitting spot.
Playing great strategy tonight, both him and Brian Chu utilizing that, and man, they are doing an excellent job. I mean, this is exactly how you want it to play out, and even when we were talking about Brian Chu, I mean, he really is showing out in the Gen 4 cars. Looked much more impressive in this car this season, and it's really having a good showing, especially here at Bristol. And look, he's closing into Grattan and Altis, who have older tires, as Ross Tatum seemed like he's got around both of them. But it looks like this 18, he's going to be flirting for a top 5 position here in a second.
He's going for the top 5 position, and he needs to make this move quickly because Thomas Ogle, freshest tires are everyone on track, up to 8th place, and he's already knocking on the door for 7th. McRae, got to be careful of where this 11 machine is going to go, and this is just a difference of just a handful of laps on someone's tires, as the driver was down on the inside of his lead. George Kovacic expecting to go take a toe to pit road, and here goes the 11, making the pass already, as Shoes dicing it back and forth.
McRae not making it easy on him. He's going to run that middle to second groove and really make the 11 put it on the bottom groove, make sure he gets around completely, but 11 driving it in deep. 17 thought he could come off the corner, but just couldn't get the run those fresher tires had. And Ogle closing it down, and right now just about to be under 4 seconds to the leader, so it was about 4.5 when he was in the 15th to 16th place position. This 11's kept it pretty much even through traffic. When he starts getting more clear track ahead of him, he will possibly start to gain more on low.
The question is, I don't think there's any more clean traffic to work with once you get by Altus and Chu, because lap traffic is now mixed and mingled heavily between all these lead lap drivers. Speaking of our leaders, they're dealing with the traffic right now as James Lowe trying to put more and more lap cars in between himself and the 44th Kyle Bowling, as Bowling has tried his best to dwindle down the gap to less than a second. This just has not been the best way. He's been catching lap cars at poor spots every time he advances forward.
You're exactly right. Sometimes it's where you catch them, and sometimes some drivers just have that knack and ability to work through traffic and make every lane work. That's where it's really about adaptability here at Bristol when it comes down to these longer runs and you get in traffic. The driver that shows out right there can really make up the biggest difference. Sometimes it's not even the driver that's the fastest just on the track by themselves. It's the driver that can make it through the track.
As James Lowe leading the way for himself. The next couple of drivers, it's going to be a decent pack, but this 99 has to figure out how he's going to dice his way through. Does he go high, low, stay patient? Because if you stay behind this group too long, that gap that you've built up to hold back the 44 could dwindle away, and what's trying to hold back the 11, who is now less than 4 seconds away. Zach Thomas Ogle is slowly chipping away at this lead as we've got less than 60 laps to go.
And he's going to love to see this. He's got pretty clear track ahead of him, but right now, this leader low is in the midst of it. He is in the back of the field, and he's going to have to be careful tiptoeing through here and pick and choose his lane very rightly. And I think this is where you're going to see Ogle gain the most time, because right now he's got about 2.8 seconds to Bowling.
A second back, now make it a half a second as Kyle Bowling setting up where to go, and as looked like Lowe was trying to bounce high and just go around on the outside. Didn't work out. Instead, he's losing all the time. Kyle Bowling is making this inside lane look like a breeze currently as he's back on the back bumper of this 99 machine.
And that's exactly what I was saying. If you cannot make every groove work, or even just the ability to run the very, very bottom of the racetrack, is a great ability to have. It makes passing that much easier, and I think that's what Bowling's able to do. He's able to stay a little bit lower on the racetrack, where Lowe really likes that high lane, likes to slide up the racetrack. And with these lap cars, they're going to be up in that.
As now the 99 slides it down low. Bowling able to continue to look smooth, ripping the bottom, just keeping it tense, but he's not able to make the pass just yet. Lap cars have enabled the 44 to close in on this gap, but it's also enabled the 11 of Thomas Ogle, who is now down to 2.5 seconds to this lead pack, and he has done a fabulous job cutting down by a full second on this lead group in just 5 laps.
It is so impressive to see. I mean, it's only going to keep the close more and more as he's already passing past Ryan Lynch there to put Ryan Lynch, the lap car, between them. And this 11 is on a mission, folks. I tell you what, if we go green here, we're going to get a great battle to the end of this race.
Certainly is. He still has to get through all this lap traffic before the lead. Kyle Bowling trying to find just a little bit of spacing to work with. He's right on the back bumper as they're trying to find a way to get by Trey Jackson in the 5. We hop on board for 44 Bowling. Again, we talk about how he's been so much smoother on the inside lane than the 99. He needs the opening just a little bit higher up, and it could give enough spacing for this 44 to dive down low.
It looks like the 44 a little bit better in traffic, the 99 a little better open track, but the 99 maybe struggling with that front end a little bit as the 44 does lose a little ground off of 2 there, but they're going to have more and more traffic as they continue on through this race. It's not over yet as they're getting past Mike Lynch, and they're going to have another group of 3 next, but they're happy. They're putting in cars in between him and Thomas Ogle.
That's the biggest thing that they can take advantage for, as that gap between our leader to 3rd place is less than 2 seconds now. As the 44 of Kyle Bowling trying to get his 3rd career win in the Stars and Stripes Racing Series. While for James Lowe, rookie year, he's trying to get a win. Bowling throws it high, trying to get that little bit of extra speed. Didn't work out. His low middle groove is working perfectly. He's got enough time to react on where the 44 wants to go.
And I love this from Bowling right here. He's changing lanes. He's making the 99 think. When you can make the driver ahead of you change their lane, dictated on you as, look, now I'm going to go to the bottom. That's exactly what you do. You make him guess each and every time. It'll make him think more, and I love what this 44 is doing right now.
The open track, given the opportunities for all these moves, and once again, runs a little bit higher in the middle groove. 44's on the quarter panel. Here we go, down into turn number 3. Kyle Bowling needing to make this pass, and as they've been in open air, working side by side with one another, the gap between these two in 3rd place dwindles away. Kyle Bowling, if he wants to win this race, needs to make this pass immediately, because if you give any more time to the 11, he could be right back behind you and stealing this win.
He needs to work over this 99 for sure, Sam. He's definitely very, very low on the entries. I feel like he could get a little closer to that 99 on the entry of the corner and open up his corner to help him a little bit, but he's being very courteous. I know it's early here still in this race, but 50 laps at Bristol will blink away in a very, very fast, and this 44 knows he needs to get it done because Ogle now 1.5 seconds, back from this top 2.
Settling in, where do you need to place yourself if you're gonna make this pass for the lead? And the 44 trying to get that lower exit off the corner. Other drivers not feeling comfortable for themselves as a driver has to go into pit road. Ross Tatum not confident on making it to the end of this race, has to come into pit road for the 21. That's going to be a tough pill to swallow for the driver that thought maybe this race was going to be his.
That is very interesting to see him stop that early. I felt like maybe he felt like he was just giving up way too much time and struggling here, and feels like maybe it's going to go green. But I mean, everybody else should make it to the end. That's just a tough situation now because Ross Tatum will be 2 laps down.
Well, I'm looking at drivers that have been out there for extended amount of laps. June White, as well as Derek Offerman, have been out there for 127 laps each, as we'll have to wait and see if they can even stretch the fuel out that long. Other drivers, Trey Jackson, Scott Rickard, Chris Whirl, have been out on the track for over 115 laps. They could be in that bubble spot of making it, unless they found a magical way to save enough fuel for the end of this race, as Scott Rickard runs low and keeps our leaders working in different lanes than where they were before.
I tell you what, with looking at some of the numbers, June White, 130 laps, 128 for Derek Offerman. Not too surprised as Offerman's on pit road. I'm not too surprised to see them have to come to pit road here before this race is over. They've gone very, very long. Even that other group of 3 of Whirl, Rickard, and Jackson, they may be close to making enough fuel here too. We are definitely going to be hoping for some type of yellow, but that lead, still only 1/10 of a second. But guess what? Ogle now under a second, but there's more traffic with drivers hitting pit road. It's really switched things up.
Yeah, we're seeing on the back bumper of the 44, because we're seeing the 11 closing in, not even get through the traffic, but he's side by side with the 99, trying to make the pass for the lead is the 44, and they're also dealing with the 21 of Ross Tatum, who's got the freshest tires, already came into pit road, now trying to mix it up with this lead pack, and splitting the middle is the driver with better tires, and it gives the pass for the lead to Kyle Bowling.
That was the opening Bowling looked for. It made the 99 have to go a little higher up the racetrack just to make sure he gave the room to Tatum. And Bowling saw his opportunity, took advantage of it, because now he's hoping the 99 does the same thing to the 11 and holds him up so the 44 can get away.
But welcome to the chaos. It is about to become a very dangerous factor. Ross Tatum splitting drivers in front. And now it's the big cluster. Can you pick the right lane that is moving forward for Kyle Bowling? Because he's got James Lowe and Thomas Ogle right on that back bumper. The 44 is thinking about going high, but they've got another slow driver that could be high. Maybe not the right move to go, but he sees the speed. Moving to the outside lane is Bowling. And here we go, the squeeze through the middle. Might be the case to keep the lead, and they do squeeze through the middle.
Look at this racing through traffic. This is quintessential Bristol folks right here. They are working their way through the traffic, and you got to navigate the best to win this place. And right now, Bowling's trying to find every opportunity to put cars in between them, but Lowe's able to follow, but it's not giving Ogle the opportunities he needs.
And Kyle Bowling, he might have to squeeze through the middle once more. Thomas Ogle, he's got to be careful. He's got a very fast 5 machine of Trey Jackson that just came into pit road. But luckily for the 44, he's going to stay low moving forward. Even more drivers hit pit road and are exiting, which is going to be a wilder factor to watch out for, as those drivers running a second and a half faster than our leaders. This is about to get very chaotic quickly as the 44 tries to hold on. The laps continue to tick away. Less than 30 laps to go here tonight.
This is very similar to the last Bristol race we were here with the ARCA car. We had pit stops happening late, all types of different speeds shown on the racetrack, and we had an incident due to that. And I would not be surprised if somewhere something happens. But at the moment, Bowling's not thinking about that. He's thinking about a clean track ahead of him now.
Aaron Hale not able to make it. He was only 74, but Bowling issues into pit road. He doesn't feel good on fuel. Bowling throws it away. It's now James Lowe with the lead.
I wonder, did he not put fuel in the car? I've seen issues where people have auto-fueled before, and I'm wondering if that's the issue, Sam, because that was only 70-some laps. He had plenty of fuel in the car.
Aaron Hale also came into pit road at the same lap as Kyle Bowling, so I think that could be the case. If drivers were auto-fueling, they may not have enough fuel. As more drivers exiting out of pit road, James Lowe, Thomas Ogle, do they have the fuel to make it to the end?
Oh no, did they get forsaken by that? That is not what they wanted to see, man. That is... it's such an unfortunate thing for him, but it seems like I may have caught him out because, again, under green flag conditions, you can go... Oh,
caution! And it's Max Ward spun around for a quick moment, and just in the late incident, this changes everything because we only have 6 drivers on the lead lap.
Oh, man, this is pretty crazy. I mean, even someone like Ross Tatum who pitted there, he's even up to ninth. I mean, yeah, he's a lap down. He luckily got one of those back through that traffic, but I mean, this is crazy scenes. Guys like McRae, Altis, Hess, Grattan, and Ogle and Lowe who all on the lead lap. This is great for them, but this is what brought out the yellow here. Sam, looks like June White maybe getting a little bit of contact to the back bumper of Max Ward.
Yeah, June White just came into pit road, gets right in the back bumper of Ward, who was still out there on older tires, and like what we've been seeing all night long, just one simple tap, and away you go as drivers hit pit road. Strategy calls are going to be massive to watch out for, because a lot of these drivers, can they make a clean pit stop? You can lose this race by having a bad pit stop right now. James Lowe hoping to keep the lead as he exits pit road, and the 99 looking to move forward, but sadly, some drivers deciding to maybe stay out. Nope, they're going to be coming into pit road just a lap later, as that's Joshua Altis and McRae. James Lowe will have the lead.
Well, I think another thing here, Sam, is kind of confusing is they do not have single pit road here tonight. They have dual pit road, so they're pitting on just the pit road that they currently are instead of going all the way around. So drivers like Altis and McRae, who qualified on the back half side of the field, they're going to lose out on every single pit stop. Luckily for their sake, again, nobody was on the lead lap, but they definitely were going to lose out to Ogle and them just by their sake of qualifying up front.
And I'm looking at drivers. Thomas Ogle expected. Some are going to be in weird spots because of the timing of this pit road. Where is Ogle, Hess, and Lowe going to pit? Because the 99 looks like he might have to give up all his track position.
It very well looks like it. This is interesting to see right here as he's getting slowed down here and behind everybody. I don't know if he necessarily did something wrong there on pit road, but yeah, he's giving up a lot of track position compared to Ogle and them.
Could have been maybe he pitted too soon, but usually it's a black flag that we can see on our end. I mean, it looks to be the 99 did officially leave pit road first, but was hit with the go to the end of the line for the 99. We don't know why, but just like that, in an instant, Zach, he had the highest hopes, and now Thomas Ogle is back in the catbird seat with 20 laps to go. Ogle, 2 seasons in a row, leading the most laps, but yet to win here at Bristol. He can finally try to break that curse here tonight.
He very well could, and we're going to have a lot of people taking a wave around right here. So lots of drivers trying to get back on to that lead lap here with this wave, with drivers pitting such as, I believe, Brian Chu, Ross Tatum, Diego Valle, Brian Lynch, Kyle Bowling, and Joshua Robinson will be our wave around drivers, but we'll see how they line up. I mean, someone like Bowling's got to feel sick to his stomach. Sam came in the pit road just a few laps before that yellow after being in the lead, and now going to have to take the wave and restart 11th on a little bit older tires.
And all those drivers that just took a wave around, they're going to be having to be stuck behind everyone that decided that's going to be one lap down. So that is going to be a large field that you're going to be waiting for, but up front, confidence for our at least top 5. Who is going to get the better run? Pace car is off. Less than 30 laps to go. Thomas Ogle's taking off. Joshua Altis moves up to second. And we're back to green flag action here at Thunder Valley 250.
And I tell you what, if you ever want to see qualifying laps for 20 laps straight here at Bristol, welcome to it. These drivers are about to save no tire. They know there's not a lot of time. They got to go full bore here all the way down to the end, so it's pedal to the metal.
Attack mode is on, and everyone that took a wave around back here 4 seconds back is that Brian Chu, Ross Tatum, and Kyle Bowling. But up front, it's all Thomas Ogle, Joshua Altis, and Jason Grattan, your top 3. Because of the fact that Altis and Grattan have been able to avoid a majority of the wrecks, they look pretty confident where they're at. Andrew Hess, who has been having a lot of pit stops, the most pit stops out of anyone here tonight with 14, just recovering, and the 54 could come away with a top 5 finish.
That would be amazing to see. I mean, the place he won his championship not so long ago, going to come out of here with a top 5. And it's crazy to say that's what he's going to be happy with. But at the same time, it's been a struggle of a season, just getting caught up in a lot of bad spots and just really getting caught up in other people's messes. So one of those things you got to shake out as a champion. But Andrew Hess definitely on the right track now. As watching Altis getting the pressure put on by Jason Grattan as Ogle's trying to scamper away.
And for our leaders, this race of dealing with lap traffic may not be over. Again, we had a lot of drivers that took the wave around, some still on 80-plus lap tires. Zach, they are going to be caught within 2 laps, and that could be the changing factor if Thomas Ogle can't get in the right lane. If those drivers are battling, this could give a chance for Altis and Grattan to get back into this fight.
It really could. I mean, we've seen already tonight how many times when it's 2 wide stacked up, how easy it is to get caught behind someone with just fresher tires. And Ogle wants to see none of that. He wants to see clear track and single file lines up ahead of him, because he feels like, if they're single file, I feel like he can get by him. But if he sees a double file race up ahead of him, that's where you start to worry a little bit.
When things can go bad, as Nate Lynch is going to be going a lap down, everyone trying to scoot their way on by. Half a second difference between first and second, 10 laps to go as we see the 11 cross the line. Welcome to the late stages of the race, and they are a little bit stacked side by side, causing Ogle to go low, and Altis cutting the distance in half. He's now on the bumper. Lap traffic gives the opportunity, and the 94's there.
I don't know if there's something wrong with Ogle. He just slowed there so quickly, but now seems to be firing off well. But he was so slow, even on the straightaway there for a moment. But Altis, definitely the pressure's on, and the caution's out.
Caution is out, and drivers on the backstretch. Nate Lynch spun around. Our leaders take a deep breath, and this is now timing of this yellow. This could be putting us inside of a regulation green, white, checkered, with the caution coming out on lap 8. I mean, with 8 laps to go, excuse me.
Yeah, it very well could be, Sam, and we'll have to see if it does play into that. But man, if you're someone like Ross Tatum or others who took the wave, you might want to hit pit road here so we get to see what played out here. As it looks like, again, a checkup on the bottom. Nate Lynch checks up. Max Ward can't get checked up in time, and unfortunately into the back of that 25.
And Nate Lynch had already gone a lap down. He was dealing with those major issues, and so it's going to be keeping the 25 dealing with more damage as some drivers decided to come into pit road. Ross Tatum, you touched on it, may want to think about coming into pit road, will make that pit stop for the 21 machine. And this is also, believe, going to give Brian Chu the lucky dog spot, or Diego Valle will keep on, who officially will get that number called to get their lap back, as all those drivers that took the wave around to get onto the lead lap, they'll now settle right behind our leaders, which means we will have at least 8 to maybe 9 drivers all in line up front, which is going to give that another chance to James Lowe, Kyle Bowling, get back into this mix.
It really will. It's going to give a lot of opportunity here. I'm interested to see what Ross Tatum can do on, fresh tires. He's not going to have many laps to get it done. And if we do go into overtime, I believe here at Stars and Stripes, we only have 1 overtime attempt available to him. So it's not like he's going to get a bunch of laps, but still could be a net gain from him where he was sitting in the line coming, down to pit road. So nothing to lose for Ross Tatum. He's got an extra set, come on down, but it's going to be tough for him to gain those spots he wants necessary. But I think Ogle Sam, he's just saying, can I get to the checker flag, man? Because this race has been eluding him so many times, and he wants to just get it done, I think.
This is one of the first times, though, late in a race where he is finally the lead driver on these late restarts. It seems like he's always had that major slip-up, if it's in pit road or during a late caution that kind of changes the fates on who's on the better tire strategy. I think this is Ogle's best opportunity so far this season and at any Bristol race to go for this win. And I got to say, this has got to be getting your monkey off the back if he can get to victory lane after the utter dominance that he's had these last 2 seasons here.
Yeah, it would definitely take a lot of weight off his shoulder for sure, because, again, this is a track that's eluded him. He's been so good at, but just hasn't been able to get it done. And then you got someone like Altis and Grattan who see this opportunity in front of them. They see what is available. It's Bristol, baby. Sometimes you're willing to risk it, and we'll see what they can do. It's tough, though, to restart on that bottom if you're Altis. And I believe Andrew Hess and Ogle, those 2 teammates restarting up top, I'm sure they're going to time this well. This could put Altis in a tricky situation.
Well, I know Hess has been dealing with a little bit of being slower than everyone else. The 54 might struggle in that 4th place position. We'll see on this restart how well can Thomas Ogle and Hess get ripping on the outside. Can Altis be one of the first drivers to really minimize the gap that you lose on the restart? So we're about to find out where the drivers can stack up. Ross Tatum having to make a late 3-wide move to get in the right spot as the pace car pulls off. 3 laps to go at the Thunder Valley 250. Here we go. Thomas Ogle ripping it straight into turn number 1.
Great jump for Ogle out front, but it's Joshua Altis in the bottom, able to get a good run through 1 and 2 and keep it close.
Keeping it right on the back bumper. If we get the white flag, this race becomes official, and we will see who can win this race. But a caution happens with 2 laps to go right now. We head to overtime. Thomas Ogle looking good for himself. Andrew Hess moves into 3rd, but it's single filing out, and Ogle's got the gap that's necessary through 3 and 4. Coming to the white flag, it's Thomas Ogle, your freaky fast white flag, the 11. Just holding his gap, holding the distance. No one is close enough for a late dive bomb move for the 11 machine. Thomas Ogle, you finally do it. It took 3 times, but it wins here at the Thunder Valley 250.
What a job, man. Great for him to get that done for himself. Joshua Altis, an excellent run in 2nd. Look at Andrew Hess, 3rd place for him after having a struggle of a night for him. Jason Gratney coming home in 4th. James Lowe rebounded back to 5th. But James McRae back in 7th. Let's give him a huge shout out too.
I mean, the last 3 weeks, you could say, McRae has been thrown around, and he has finally been able to get that top 10 that we knew that he could get. He's had some decent speed, but finally was able to survive a race to show off what speed the 17 has. As the fireworks take off, congratulations to Thomas Ogle as he gets to burn it down on the front stretch. As we will be back in just a few moments. We got the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3, Thomas Ogle, Joshua Altis, Andrew Hess, and a spotlight driver right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show for the Stars and Stripes Season 7, Race 6 in the books. And finally, it took the 3rd try of dominance, but Thomas Ogle gets the victory at the Thunder Valley 250. Tom, you finally get it done. 3 races where you've been up front, practically leading the most laps at all 3 of these races at Bristol, but you finally breaking the win column, man. How are you feeling after this one?
Relieved. Uh, I should be excited, but I'm more relieved than excited. Just it was with the tire limit and the strategy, and then those guys. I pitted, and then I got a exiting closed pit entrance somehow. I was the leader, and I got a exiting closed pit entrance, so I had to start at the tail. So I burned up my tires getting up through when I finally caught those two. And then Kyle pitted and Ross pitted, and I was kind of worried that they were going to be able to come back. But that caution kind of fell and saved me. My tires were smoked after coming through the field.
It definitely looked wild there for moments for sure, Tom. I tell you what, though, man, congrats on getting this Bristol win. Like you, this one's eluded you for a little bit here, but you know, this season it's not looked the greatest for you, and to come out here and get a win, this has got to feel amazing for yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of vacation time and stuff, so I've missed 2 races. Super speedways, always get wrecked at. And then last at Dover, I had a good run, but just I didn't take tires and everybody else did, so I ended up 7th. But yeah, listen, it's a relief to get a win. This is a tough league. There's 15 or 20 guys that can win at any time. I mean, we only had 2 winners, but those were both tough fights, you know? It isn't like there's anybody dominates this league.
Yeah, I mean, it's been impressive to see all the drivers that have really stepped up these last couple of seasons. And Tom, for you finally getting this win, you said it's vacation time. Are the vacations done, or are you
All
planning
done.
on trying to?
All done. Everybody was teasing me. I missed last week to go to Miata's at the Gap down in North Carolina. So, yep, that's it. I dropped my daughter off Tuesday in college. I told her she couldn't go on a Sunday or Thursday. So, yep, I'm done. I'll be here the rest of the year. I hate missing races when I commit to a league.
Hey, we're happy that you're going to be committed here for the rest of the season here, Tom. Is there a race, though, that you're looking forward to in these upcoming weeks as we're heading to Nashville Super Speedway, as well as Homestead, and then at Kentucky?
I'm looking forward to Homestead and Nashville. I'm dreading Kentucky. If you guys remember last year, I had I stink at Kentucky, and I had a horrible run, and it actually knocked me out of the chase. I don't know. I just can't drive that track, but I'm okay at Nashville. And, yeah, I like, and Homestead I run good at. So if the strategy just falls, I think I got a good run in me at both places. Having a win really takes the pressure off, you know?
That it certainly does, Tom, and you finally get it done here tonight. Congratulations, and before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
I want to thank everybody for racing clean, the front guys, the 6, and Ross and Joshua there at the end ran me clean in that lap traffic. I want to thank Nate and Brian Lynch for all the work they do to put the league on. And thank you guys for doing a great job on the broadcast.
Well, thank you very much.
And thank all my teammates, Josh, Andrew, and Brian again.
No problem. Well, congratulations, Tom, on this win. Enjoy it. And as well, good luck on the rest of the regular season before the playoffs.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
You too. Well, as we go from victory lane, we head down to second place to talk to Joshua Altus, who got a great sign of how this race could have gone after watching last night's race with me up at the booth. Instead, he was racing here tonight, comes away second. Josh, congratulations on a top 3 finish for yourself. Man, how are you feeling after maybe a night you weren't expecting it to be here tonight?
Yeah, thanks so much, Sam. Yeah, a pretty pretty contrast from last night. I had fun calling the WSSR Cup Series with you last night, but yeah, I mean, it was a hectic night. I was actually late to the session because I run a league before this, and I was talking to my buddy about pulling off, but I was leading the race, and I ended up winning the race in the other league. So I was like, I hope I can make it in time. So my first lap on track was qualifying. So did not put a good qualifying lap down. and then got a little damage on that first wreck, and I didn't know we were doing dual pit roads either, and I thought I unchecked my tires, and I accidentally burned a set on lap 10. So at that point, I thought we were pretty much done, and I was just trying to ride around and make the best of it, and we just worked the strategy. I think it was all about when you put tires on, and kind of when the cautions fell, and so many people were on different cycles, so we were able to kind of cycle to the front at one point, and yeah, it just kind of worked out strategy wise. But the old 94 was quick tonight. We had her in the win.
That you really did, Josh. I tell you, man, it was fun to watch you come through the field there tonight for majority of it there. But you talked about strategy. How hard was it to keep up the strategy, especially with 3 sets of tires? I'm sure that was making y'all nervous.
Yeah, I mean, it was even harder for me because I only really had 2 sets because I burned my first one on lap 10 by accident. So, my whole plan for the first part of the race was just trying to ride and stay out of trouble the best I could. And I felt like I found more trouble than cleared away. I just seemed like a magnet to some people tonight. So, fortunately, air doesn't play a big part here at Bristol. So I was just trying to make that second set of tires last as long as I possibly could, and then once we kind of got to a point where I felt like we could put our third set on, then just tried to manage the race from there. And like I said, it was fast, and it was just learning the track at the beginning. Like I said, coming from Richmond in my other league race, it was a pretty big contrast coming from Richmond straight to Bristol. So it took me a little while to adjust, but we got it going.
Well, still a solid run for yourself, Josh. And before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to thank Nate and everyone that puts the series together at Stars and Stripes. My first season over here, so a lot of talent in this league. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of talent in every single series you guys broadcast. And so thanks to ButtKicker and Next Level Racing who helped sponsor the series. Shout out to my teammates, Ross Tatum, Jonathan Woods. Will wasn't here tonight. Jonathan had a tough night, but it was fun talking strategy with Ross and moving through the field with them. So appreciate those guys. And definitely big shout out to you guys at Freaky Fast Racing. I've had such a great time, just doing something a little different and joining you in the booth on Wednesday night, Sam. And it's just cool to see how much effort and preparation goes into these broadcasts behind the scenes. Robert, Zach, Trevor, everyone that's a part of Freaky Fast Racing. I'm really appreciative to be part of the family now. So thank you guys as always. And last thing I'll shout out is Sinvar Solar. If anyone is in the Virginia area, I'm sure everyone understands electric bills are going through the roof right now. If you're ever interested in clean energy and just saving a ton of money on your electric bill, shoot me a message. Happy to talk you through solar, how it works, our equipment, the REC panels, 25-year warranty on everything. It's really great. So great way to save some money. And that's about it. And shout out to my wife for letting me race.
Well, that's going to be the 94 of Joshua Altus coming away with a second place finish. Congratulations and good luck next week.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Well, from second place, let's go down to third, which was a driver that found himself in victory lane here last season, and it was for a championship. Tonight, it's third place and a great recovery run, you could say. We got Andrew Hess with us. Andrew, I know tonight did not start out the way that you wanted, but at the end of the day, top 3, how are you feeling after tonight?
Worn out. I don't think I could make another pit stop. I, after I think most of this race, and I think a lot of the guys in here will agree that it's just a lot of bad racecraft, bad judgment as far as how aggressive you need to be 20 some laps in, 50 laps in, 100 laps in. It's not what we're really accustomed to, and I don't know if we're just a little amped up right now or what the deal is, but be nice to slow down a little and get back into our groove here.
Completely understandable there, Andrew. But I tell you what, man, what is heading back in the groove is you finishing in the top 3, man. I mean, 2 weeks in a row now. They're second last week at Pocono, third here tonight. I mean, that's got to feel good to get the ball rolling that way towards, back again towards the top.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been kind of a challenge this year, I'd say. There's been a lot of bad luck, wrong place, wrong time. And I mean, started that same way tonight here. And I think I had about 3 minutes of damage I was trying to get fixed there. And Tom said I pinned it about 900 times. I don't think it was that long, but it sure felt like it sometimes, just trying to get that fixed because Bristol's pace laps are so short. And then with the way the field's stretched out, you can only get like 10 to 15 seconds done at a time. And it just took forever, but I was glad that I was able to get all that fixed. And then I started taking my tires.
Well, we do have the official number for you. You pitted a total of 14 times, which was the second most. Only Diego Valle beat you out by one more pit stop. A lot of stops overall, but these next couple of tracks, we're heading towards that of Nashville Super Speedway, Homestead, then Kentucky. How are you feeling about these next three races that are coming up?
Oh, I'm looking forward to them all, to be honest. I mean, I was looking forward to Bristol tonight, and then yeah, Homestead I ran pretty good at last time. I'm looking forward to that, and then Nashville, I think I had a pretty good pace at last time, so we'll see what this car drives like on it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to all of them, and hopefully we can clean this up a little bit and put on a better show for you guys, because you guys do such an awesome job, and it's kind of a shame to have a stinker of a race, but hopefully the ending made up for it.
It certainly was entertaining at the end. Congratulations, Andrew, on tonight's finish in the top three. But before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any shoutouts.
Oh, I guess I got to start with you guys. Great job as always. You guys should be tuning in, because we put on a good show for everyone, and usually a little drama. Congratulations to Tom. He had us kind of covered, and wish you didn't have to come so far back, and could have raced some more of the race and seen where it shook out. But thanks for the league as well, and hopefully we'll put on a good race next week.
We're hoping for it. That's the 54 of Andrew Hess coming away with his, again, another top three finish. Love to see it for last season's champ. Congratulations and good luck next week.
Thanks, guys.
As we head from third place, go to our spotlight driver. We talked about the 17 a lot here tonight, about the way he was moving forward throughout the field, was our second biggest mover of the night. We got James McRae with us. James, congratulations. You're grabbing your second top 10 of the season for yourself. Man, how are you feeling after that performance here this evening?
Feeling pretty good, man. Like, yeah, I had no confidence going in. Bristol's not really one of my tracks I look forward to, but yeah, man. I felt great after it.
Yeah, it's definitely got to feel great, James. I tell you what, man, coming out of 0 incidents in 250 laps, that's got to feel always good. Either way you finish. But, how does it feel now? Because this is your second good finish of this year. Do you think you can get some of this momentum heading towards these next few races?
Maybe it's gonna be tough. I don't have much experience in this car. I didn't really race it too much when it came out. Uh, Man, I got lots of excuses chambered up too, man. I lost my VR set not too long ago, so I'm just like, I'm trying to get back in it, uh, trying to relearn. It feels like from scratch everything, but maybe we'll see. Hopefully, I guess I'm getting better at it.
I mean, it certainly looks like it. I mean, the way you were moving through the field throughout the beginning portions of this race, you were looking fantastic. The fact that you're learning once again on monitor and then also a brand new car, you've been doing a great job so far. Now we're heading to Nashville Super Speedway, Homestead, and Kentucky as our next three races. What's your mindset heading back to the more so a mile and a half or traditional forms of racing?
Well, I always been pretty good mile and a half, but this car is, like I said, another variable for me. Uh, Looking back on Vegas, I mean, I wasn't able to qualify back then, or at least tonight. I think was the first night they let me qualify, and I even, even they let me. I still bombed it on the coming to the start of the second lap, but so I started what dead last or near it. So, um, yeah, I feel better about it now. I may be able to qualify and start in a better position, but if Vegas was any indication of how these are at mile and a half, it's gonna be a tough race with this crowd. Not as far as skill is concerned, everybody seems really really good here.
Well, it certainly has looked like, as you're one of the rookies of this class, has been a very good rookie class to be merging in for season 7. Congratulations on another great finish. But before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any shoutouts.
Yeah, I reckon. Shout out to you guys putting it on. Love y'all's broadcasting. Guys out in the league, Lynch's for letting me in, and yeah, my mom out there watching, and anyone else watching. Yeah, thank you.
Well, that's going to be the 17 machine of James McRae coming away 7th here tonight. His second top 10 finish. Congratulations on your finish and good luck next week.
Thank you. Take care.
You too, as that's going to finish out our interviews with our top 3 and a spotlight driver here this evening. The drivers get prepared. Next week, not going to get any easier. We still stay on the concrete heading to Nashville Super Speedway. Should be a good one to watch out for. But Zach, tonight, Bristol had a lot of wrecks, but it was Thomas Ogle finally getting the win here at Bristol.
We definitely had more wrecks than usual, but Thomas Ogle getting that victory, that's something, huge weight lifted off him, especially with the season he's having. I mean, very uncharacteristic, him and Andrew Hess, but Hess now with 2 top 3 finishes, also at the third. I mean, it's starting to get the ball rolling for a few guys here with this Gen 4 Cup Series car, and we got some good tracks even coming up, man. So I'm super excited to see how the series progresses, and we continue to see the new rookies flourish, and some of these veterans come back here and hit back.
I mean, these first 6 races have been very much a variety race of who knows what we're going to get ourselves into, but we're starting to head more of the traditional cookie cutter 1.5 V-shaped courses, and it should be a lot more advantageous to some. Some maybe they wish to go back to the short tracks, but after tonight's race, here's where the drivers line up unofficially. Thomas Ogle, like we said, finally getting the monkey off his back, winning here at Bristol. Joshua Altis getting 2nd place, a great run for the 94. Andrew Hess seems like he's getting back on that championship track, getting another top 3 finish for the 54. And third, with Jason Gratton getting his first top 5 finish of the season. James Lowe gets a top 5 finish for the 99. Ross Tatum 6th, 7th goes to James McRae. Cal Bowling, Brian Chu, and Aaron Hale finishing out your top 10.
And as they look through that rest of that order there, Sam, for the unofficial finishing results, Christian Lawson there, great job just outside of the top 10 and 11th. You had Whirl, Rickard right there in 12th and 13th, and then from there it was a mixed bag. I mean, guys like Baye, who had trouble tonight, Robinson, who was quick, got involved in an incident there late in 17th, and June White also qualified up near the front. He's going to fall back all the way to 21st. So just shows you Bristol sometimes, yes, the speed can be there, but sometimes it's a race about surviving and getting that strategy right more than anything. And I think that's what a few drivers farther back just didn't hit tonight, was that strategy.
I mean, strategy calls a big thing, and that's the reason why we always talk about tires are the biggest thing to watch out for, because every racetrack we go to, they only got 3 sets in pit road to work with. Doesn't matter the distance. It is all about how you figure out your strategy. And for Thomas Ogle, he figured out the strategy that placed him up front. Got a little bit of luck with James Lowe getting penalized with the late pit stop penalty that put him in the back. And the rest of the field slots where they were. But tonight's race, certainly a good one. Our second of our trilogy of Bristol races. We had the WSSR last night, Stars and Stripes tonight. We get the weekend off, but we finish off our trilogy here at Bristol with ISRC Truck Series on Monday as we finish off who could win at the last Great Coliseum in the trucks. Who knows? That series is put on a show at Bristol every single season. Then on Tuesday, drivers find themselves getting prepared at Iowa. And then on Wednesday, WSSR heads to Texas before we're right back here next week. Nashville Super Speedway. Who could hold on? Never know, Zach, as we got to prepare ourselves for more Bristol on Monday.
We got to prepare definitely for more Bristol, Sam. It's going to be, quintessential Bristol. Lots of yellows, lots of incidences, and some great racing to go along with it. So it's going to be an up and down night for those guys. For the rest of the week, too, going to be very, very good action throughout. So, like Sam said, make sure you tune in throughout the 4 nights of action we have here each and every week. And telling you, you're missing out if you ain't joining on multiple nights, because the racing has been fantastic at pretty much every league we've had so far this season. So it's been a pleasure to be up in the booth and out in the driver's seat for a few of them. So can't wait to see how this play out, Sam, but we got a nice little set of tracks here for next week.
And for those that are still with us, thank you for joining tonight's racing action Thursday night for the Stars and Stripes. And like I said, a lot of great finishing and racing that's been going on in all the different series we cover. Well, get prepared. Tomorrow, I should just say, going to have our top 5 finishes of July with a couple of special finishes as well mixed in. Can't wait for that video to drop tomorrow. And hopefully for everyone else, enjoyed the racing show, as got to see Thomas Ogle back into victory lane, another different winner for the Stars and Stripes Season 7. But for our next Freaky Fast broadcast, Monday night, more Bristol action for the ISRC Truck Series, and that will be our next Freaky Fast broadcast.